I was at an events industry conference presenting earlier this week, and it's quite amazing how ahead New Zealand is of every other country with being able to get people in the same room and do face-to-face meetings. A lot of our colleagues in Australia were sort of zooming in and having to watch live streams, and they're all way, way far behind. So kudos to you, Jeremy, for getting everyone in a room. Yeah, we started using the game with teachers and students. After lockdown, I used my 7-year-old to experiment with some child applications of it. And I was kind of blown away by his ability to grasp some of the concepts that I still struggle to get adults to grasp. And actually, he did the full workshop, and then he filled out his whole handbook, and he was able to set strategies. And we got to the point where he was able. We printed off his 5 undesired emotions, and we stuck them up on the kitchen wall. And when he has his typical 7-year-old meltdown, which is quite regular, he's able to go and point to one of his most overwhelming feelings. And we have strategies to bring it back down. So quite quickly we saw that there was some great applications. And we were quite lucky in our town. There's a very forward-thinking principal at our local primary school. So I went in and showed him what Daniel had done. Awesome. And Jeremy always advised, always bring a pack of cards wherever you go. Always have a pack of cards. You've probably all heard this time and time again. And it's so true. So I got the card pack out, and he sat there for an hour just going through it in such detail and wanting to know what every word meant, and really excited. So we managed to agree that we'd come back and do some teacher sessions. So the first session we did was with some teacher aides, which was interesting, and they don't have as much sort of parent contact, and they have very set student contact. So we did the process with them, and it was really good for their team because their team was feeling a bit low, and especially after COVID. And I tried something slightly different with the emotion tracker. So at the end of the session, they pulled out the 5 and agreed as a team. And we put the emotion tracker up, and they decided that it wasn't enough to just track how their team was feeling. They also wanted to talk about how their stakeholder relationships were, their relationships with their teachers. So we were able to find a dual use for that tracker that they were able to follow over time. So as a team, they were feeling a lot better having done the process, but they felt they weren't as sort of accepted and respected by the teachers. So we were able to track that, and then over time we've gone back and checked in. And with the team wrapping the support around itself, they've been able to roll that out to the teachers. We've also done a process with the teachers and their leaders as well. And it's got the teachers really interested in classroom applications. So we're now going through the process of developing a methodology for the students, so the slightly older students in primary school, so 9, 10, 11-year-olds, and looking at kind of trying to bring in a bit of the Lego serious play with it as well, so that we can find the words and they can just be slightly distracted while they build. And what 9-year-old doesn't love Lego? And again, the teachers are really behind this and just open to experimenting, which is really exciting, and well connected to some other schools. So the other schools are sending their teachers in to see what we're doing, and we're looking to expand that out into the Waikato. On completely the other end of the spectrum, as Jeremy mentioned, I'm dealing with firefighters. It's been fun. We go into the brigades and you have these 20 middle-aged white men sit around a table. Excuse my French, I don't fucking have feelings. I don't need this bollocks. And you go around the table and do the retrospective or the intention setting. And quite often on the first pass, there'll be 1 or 2 that'll sit there and go, nah, not for me. But everyone else is opening up and sharing. And I've had it 2 or 3 times now when you get back round on the second go, they're, you're waiting to pass them over because you think, I'm not even going to argue with you. But they're saying, no, I've got one. And I've actually lost several packs now because several blokes have come up at the end and gone, can I take this home? Can I show my wife I've got feelings? And the scary thing is I don't think they're doing it as a joke. So no, it's been really good. And I found firefighters are a very interesting bunch. They actually naturally have quite high empathy. They're there representing their community. New Zealand's quite amazing. We've got 14,000 volunteer firefighters across the country. If we were trying to pay them, the billions of dollars would be crippling to the government. So the work they do is absolutely incredible, and the approach they take. But it's been really humbling sitting in a room with these firefighters, and as they start to open up a little bit, some of the crap they see on a sort of daily and weekly basis, and a lot of them still don't have a place to vent or a place to talk about it. So we found, I was just telling Jeremy, we did a workshop with, it was about 10 of them last week. And even though the subject was nothing to do with it, we were talking about suicidal tendencies and friends who had gone through this. And the support that didn't exist 30 years ago when it was take a concrete pill and harden up. And we have come further than that. But it was really great that we were able to look at the whole program we were rolling out with them and roll in a whole sort of peer support access network with it as well. So again, just enabling the conversations that they've not been really given permission to have before, and creating those spaces is for me really inspiring and equally very humbling. And I kind of have to go and find my own place to offload afterwards, hearing some of the stories, because they're quite horrific. It's really interesting dealing with the people you'd never thought who would embrace it, and just seeing them like children when they finally get those cards out and they play with them. And you just see that transformation. It's really, really cool. Yeah. So they're my two groups.
Yeah, mind blown. It's like, not in my wildest dreams when I created this game did I think that firefighters or school teachers would be using it. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it is happening and we're creating these conversations is phenomenal. So nice work, mate. Are there any questions for Adam? Because I think after each one we might just do, if there's some thoughts or reflections or ideas.
So with the firefighters, how did you approach them? How did you play them to get them to buy into actually buying into play?
I've just taken the kind of spring it on them approach. Because I swear, if you try and tell them what you're going to do, you'd get thumped, I'm pretty sure, by half of them. There's no way they'd even turn up. So we've been doing some workshops on inclusivity, diversity, code of conduct, that kind of thing. And rather than launching straight into it, because it's pretty boring, we've just thrown the card packs out and said, right, we're going to do a quick game. That's sort of how I learned from Jeremy to introduce it. And you do the quick retro with the black. And as soon as they got that card pack out, they just go. They do it.